Hey guys, so I'm going to do another further thoughts video. Um, so my further thoughts on how My Best Friend is Invisible is the worst Goosebumps book in the entire original series, and how I can't stand it. I think it's has the dumbest twist. It's the dumbest story. R.L. Stine really doesn't do it for me in this one. I love Goosebumps, but my best friend is invisible. Sucks, and don't read it. So that's the further thoughts video. Also, I want to be doing my further thoughts on Pass Through Fire, the collected lyrics of Lou Reed. As I said in my video for Pass Through Fire, Lou Reed is one of my favorite songwriters. I think he was very poetic, yeah, and he struck this great balance between high art and low art, of the grittiness of the street with the lofty themes of love and romance. And the great thing, I don't think I mentioned in my video for Pass Through Fire, is when you actually see everything he wrote in one place, if you read through all of his lyrics from his earliest stuff right up to the last stuff he did with Metallica, you'll see the depth and range of his writing. Not only that, but you see the growth of Lou as an artist. You go from his earliest stuff with the Velvet Underground, all the way up to stuff even his 70s albums like Transformer or Street Hassle. And you see a maturity developing. You see his voice becoming more and more distinct. You see his ideas broadening and his just depth growing. You see how he's getting more and more expressive and more broader in his themes. He's getting more. You can tell that he's growing up and he's getting older and he's starting to think in different ways that he hadn't thought of before. And it's all captured in his writing. The great thing about Lou's songs is whatever era of Lou Reed's music you're listening to is him. So if you're listening to Transformer, that was Lou Reed at that moment and that time. If you're listening to The Blue Mask, that was him at that time. And the ideas and things he was wanting to express at that point. If you listen to something like Set the Twilight Reeling, you see a much older, more introspective, but also very observant to the outside world Lou, which Lou was always observant to the outside world. His writing has always come across to me as a mixture of expressive poetry and journalism, because he's always been, even from his earliest stuff, was always reporting on things that went on around him and the people he knew and things that he was going through. And he's a documentarian in song form, especially so in things like Candy Says, Walk on the Wild Side, Andy's Chest, all these strange characters and situations, and sometimes even surreal lyrics expressing all the things that was going on around him. But even in things like a later song like My House from the early 80s, it was talking about his marriage and his house itself, where he was living, the contentedness of his life at that time. Things you get to a song like My Red Joystick, talking about his divorce, poking fun at the whole divvying up of goods when couples split up, expressing a characteristic sarcastic attitude about it. Things like Street Hassle, which is more of a tone poem than a rock song, and it's 3 little vignettes, each expressing a different gritty vignette of street life in New York, especially that moving and the very cinematic monologue that he does in the middle of it when he's the part where he's like, "Hey man, I think that chick ain't breathing. I think she's had too much or something other. You know what I mean?" That kind of thing. It's very out of a play, which is what he said he wanted to do, was something like out of a Tennessee Williams play. So you see a lot of depth and experimentation. You see a lot of growth, and Lee wanted to be more than just a rock artist. He wanted to be more than just a guy who did 3-minute rock songs. He wanted to be an artist. He wanted to express himself. He wanted to bring creativity and intelligence and literariness. Literariness is not a word, I know. To his music. He wanted to reach like a mature thinking audience, because he was a mature thinking guy. And you really see all that just reading his lyrics in Pastor Fire. You see him kind of growing up in public, so to speak. He was an interesting guy, and a lot deeper than I think a lot of people give him credit for. But anyways, that's just my further thoughts on Pastor Fire. Which, it's great seeing the lyrics to one of my favorite songwriters all in one place. And I'm very lucky to own it. But you can easily pick up a copy on Amazon or in a bookstore, which I highly recommend you do. So, anyways, that's it for this video. I'll be back with another one soon. I don't know when, but I'm trying to post them more regularly. I've had a lot more free time than I anticipated lately, so trying to get those up while I'm also doing other things. So, I will see you guys next time. Bye.